What's up, everybody? Well, I got another Asus G15 Advantage gameplay video for you guys today, and today we're gonna check out Path of Exile 2, and hopefully it'll be able to play it quite well, but I guess we'll find out. And I was originally just gonna try out Vulkan, but then I decided, hey, we should probably try DirectX 12 too. Who knows? Maybe it'll be better, but generally, DirectX 12 seems to work better on NVIDIA, and Vulkan seems to work better on AMD. Now, if you only have the choice between like DirectX 11 and 12 on AMD, then usually 12 works better. But when Vulkan's involved, from my experience, Vulkan almost always does better on AMD, but I wanna be sure. So we'll just do what we did on the small form factor PC, and we'll start off with Vulkan, and then we'll also try DirectX 12. And then we'll also do some FSR, even though it probably won't need it. We tried it on the small form factor PC too, even though it didn't really need it. And it didn't really do a whole lot, so I'm not really expecting much if it didn't do a lot at 4K. It probably almost certainly will not do anything at 1080p, but hey, I guess we'll find out. So let's stop blabbing, and let's hop ourselves into the game.
All right, first off we'll start with Vulkan and just max the game out. And honestly, if you just want it to get like good FPS, just turn that shadow plus GL quality from ultra down to high, and you'll get like way more FPS. Probably like 75 to 85, maybe even touching 90 if I remember correctly when I turned that off. But I just wanted to max it out just for fun. Lots of people expect that when they watch these kinds of videos. Anyway, do the game. All right, so here we go. And it had some weird frame time skip things going on here, but it still stayed around 60 FPS even while recording, so that's not too bad. But it still couldn't quite stay at 60 all the time. See, down to 47, 45. So it just can't quite handle it, unfortunately. Not a big deal, though. I wasn't really expecting the thing to be able to handle it maxed out. But I think if we just turn that one thing from freaking ultra down, I think it would probably stay 60, 90% of the time. Like right now, it probably would have been at like 56, 58 at the lowest or something during all that. Just a guess, though. And then we're also going to try DirectX 12 too, because usually AMD does better on Vulkan than DirectX 12 when you have the choice. But not always, so I kind of figured, let's see. Alright, time to move on. Alright, so now we're turning FSR quality on, see if that makes a difference. DLSS didn't make a lot of difference on the small form factor PC, but that does not mean that FSR won't make a difference here. I mean, it probably won't, but hey, I'm curious, and we should definitely be thorough if we can be, right? So, let's get ourselves back into the game. Alright, here we go. Let's run around with FSR, and now we're at least getting more playable FPS here, so it definitely seemed to help. Now, that's not to say you get 60 plus everywhere, but at least out here we seem to be. But we'll have to wait until a bunch of monsters try to attack me to see if we can still stay above the 60 FPS threshold, even with attacking monsters. Though, later on, I'm sure there'll be giant mobs, like 50, 60 of the things coming at me. Can't test that out, though. I'm not far enough in the game to test that out. But yeah, the frame times are still kind of wonky. I don't know what's up with them. Alright, I want to make sure everything's dead before I like try to move on. That way I don't die. Alright, I think it's safe. Now we're going to do DirectX 12, native, and then after that we'll just like on Vulkan, we'll try some FSR after this. But I think that's probably more than good enough. So why don't we go back into the game and see how DirectX 12 does. Alright, here we go. And still kind of hovers around the 60-ish mark, but still can't quite stay above 60. So a lot of people would have no problem playing like this, but a lot of PC people are like me and don't really want anything under 60. Like 60 is the absolute bare minimum for them. Not even like what they want to hit. Like, this is the bare minimum. But then there's some people that are totally okay with 30 or 40, and that's totally cool too. That's why I'm glad there's options for everybody. Because it's not like somebody's coming over to me and be like, hey, guess what? These other guys, they got like 30, so I'm going to hold this gun up to your head. Now you have to like it and play like that too. Like, no, luckily no. That way, why not let them enjoy it their way? Oh yeah, I was going to say, this is the only time I've ever seen this happen on anything, but we had these weird artifacts going on here. I don't know if that was like my laptop is fucking up, if that was it not liking DirectX 12, which is still fucking up, but it didn't do anything like that on Vulkan. Now, it's not to say that if I would have kept playing for like an hour or two, it wouldn't have done the same thing, but I never saw that do that again on anything, I don't believe. But it was still strange. So I definitely wanted to say something when I saw it. Alright though, I'd say it's time for us to go ahead and move on. Alright, so now we're going to do FSR quality, and last time it made a small difference, which is better than no difference, so I'll take it. So let's see if it gives us a small difference here too. And I think that's also more than good enough for the settings, so let's get back to the game. Now we got some DirectX 12 with some FSR. It seems to be similar, but I think Vulkan has the win. Because I think that was getting into the 80s most of the time. Although now this is too, so it could just be where we are. That's why I think they're pretty damn close. Well, I will say this one seems like slightly better on the frame times. Especially during the frame times of the Vulkan with the FSR. That seemed to have some really wonky frame times. And we're still recording, so it's not like we can say, oh, well, one was recording and one wasn't. Because they're both being recorded with OBS. Which I'm actually happy about. Usually they don't let me do Vulkan. And it would have been really weird to be able to do DirectX 12 but not Vulkan. And then be like, alright, well one portion of it is screen, the other portions of it's camera, and blah blah blah. That would have looked really wonky. So I'm glad it allowed me to get lots of screen recorded gameplay here. Even though it does take away some FPS, I still think it looks more professional. So I'm glad everybody kept telling me to do it. Same thing with thumbnails. Lots of people said, hey, you should do thumbnails. So, I at least started to do that a little bit. Oh, now we got some weird frame times going on, but still nowhere near as weird as the ones that we were getting with FSR and Vulkan. That was some really wonky frame times. It was kind of like right there all the time, though, non-stop. So I don't know what's up with that. It's not like we're out of VRAM or anything. And that's another thing I forgot to mention. On both my Alienware and on my Asus, I had to go into the graphics settings in the Windows search, just go down and type graphic settings. I had to go in there and tell it to use the high performance 6800M on the Asus and the 7900M on the Alienware. Otherwise, it was trying to use the integrated, which was trying to do like 20 FPS on both of them, and that was just not going to happen. Alright, now moving on time.
Alright, now let's get some camera recorded gameplay. Let's see if it still has random stutters or if that was just the recording. Sometimes OBS makes stuff suck. Ooh, more scroll voice though.
Here, this shade, is it still alive?
I don't know. You tell me.
Perhaps to release that being from the Tree of Souls will need more than simply cutting his robe. The ancient runes that imbue the Count's blade created the binding, and only ancient runes can break it. There is a battlefield not far from here that runs red with rust, where the weapons and armor of countless Ezamites still remain. We call it the Red Veil. You should search the area. There may still be power in some of those centuries-old relics. Renly will know how to forge them, bring the runes to him, and then, perhaps, we shall find some answers. I'll wait here. The old magics will protect me.
Alrighty. Still has some weird frame time issues. But I'd still say these frame time issues are still a little bit better than the Vulkan ones. Those were doing some really wonky things. Although this one is the only one so far that's had weird graphical anomalies on DX12, so there's that too. In any case, I think that's just about enough for some camera recorded gameplay, so why don't we go wrap this video on up now? Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for Path of Exile 2 on the Asus G15 Advantage at 1080p anyway, and at least maxed out. It doesn't seem like it can hit a constant 60, and it seemed like Vulkan got more FPS than DirectX 12, but DirectX 12 surprisingly seemed to have slightly smoother frame times, although still did some weird erratic shit with that. But at the same time, it was still pretty playable once I turned on some FSR, so I'm not expecting 1440p to go so well, but hey, who knows, maybe it'll be like Indiana Jones and get like the same FPS as it did at 1080p, and then maybe not get as many, frame time stutters and stuff, since it'll be directly connected to that 6800M and whatnot. But hey, I guess we'll see in the next video, because that's what I'm doing next, is 1440p on this guy. So I hope you enjoyed this video though, because I sure as hell enjoy making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.